You know those cartoons that you see when you're a child, but your memory of them kind of fade into the memory of other cartoons? That's what I'm counting down. Hi beautiful people and welcome to the top 5 action cartoons I kinda don't really remember.
6, 10, 5, 5.
Follow my socials.
These are cartoons I saw somewhere and it kinda jogged my memory that, hey, I used to watch that. And if I remember what I mixed them up with, I'll tell you.
Yes, I do. 5.
Mask is a good idea with a not so good execution, at least in the first episode. I think I confused it with Centurions and Inhumanoids. I kinda always confuse the heroes of the two. Basically, it's a group of people that have helmets that give them powers, and that kinda makes sense, especially if it's hand-to-hand combat. But they are all in vehicles, and the vehicles have their own weapons. There's 3 vehicles that have good designs, the rest are all silly, and all of the helmets are silly. The only power that's really interesting is a lifting ray. There's another guy who uses a hologram to turn a missile around, because the missile is not a heat seeker, but has a camera, I guess. The truck doesn't do much, but it lowers its pipes to create a smoke screen, and that's realistic enough that it can work. The Jeep has a boat under it. There's a motorcycle with the side attachment, and the side attachment detaches and goes into water, and that works. But the others? We have a knockoff DeLorean that opens its doors and they become wings. It's ridiculous. There's a little boy who's really annoying. He has a robot that seems to have been designed by Dr. Robotnik. In this case, I guess I should say Eggman. And there's a little educational part in the end. I can't say it's a moral because it has nothing to do with the story, and the story is really basic and really poorly done. A meteor that makes plants grow can be used to cure people, but it can also kill people if you cut it in 3 pieces because nobody knows how radiation works. And in the end of the episode, it stops working by itself. Oh, and the main guy has the Bat computer and a little elevator to go to a train to go to his Voltron. I can't recommend this.
4, 4, 4.
Against the spiral
Spiral Zone is a military action cartoon that I'm pretty sure I kinda conflated into Centurions. I think I always got the 2 bad guys confused. I kinda remember the giant wheel the good guy's leader uses, but not much more than that. Well, there's something called the Spiral Zone that makes people's skins have patches of red and make their eyes yellow, but the idea seems to be that they lose control of themselves except for a few, and those few decide to be an army and dominate the zone and have zone generators so they can rule the world. The story is not really well developed. This is all just there. They don't introduce any of this in the first episode. There's a video game they used to hypnotize one of the good guys, and by the end nobody admits that the problem was not the video game, but rather that it was used to hypnotize someone. In fact, the leader of the good guys uses the video game to his advantage. The designs of the machines are not particularly good either. All of the good guys are balancing on one wheel for some reason. And the bad guys have these chairs that have no protection and tank treads on the side, and on top of that, besides those, you have 2 little arms with spiked balls. Just, it's the dumbest thing possible. So I don't really recommend it.
5, 4.
Brave Star.
Brave Star is Filmation, but it's not quite He-Man level, it's a little better. I actually saw a couple of moments where the animation seems to be for that moment, not the model being reutilized again and again. So I want to say it's good, but it's good for Filmation. For a long time I saw what I think was called Galaxy Raiders, and I was sure this horse that becomes humanoid, this great character idea, was actually part of that cartoon. But then I find out it's actually Brave Star. Story-wise, it's closer to He-Man. We don't have a lot of story. We're going to have a moral in the end. A moral in which Brave Star has a huge shoulder for some reason. And while the design of these 2 characters works because it's pretty simple, the design of the woman... it looks like she has metal going through her hips. That's not comfortable. You do have those Filmation shortcuts, but less than He-Man. I don't remember if they actually explained how, but Brave Star is actually stealing the powers of the Phantom. He doesn't have the power of the 10 Tigers, he has the power of the bear. Actually, he's closer to Vixen because he has multiple powers. But yeah, he's stealing either way. But the only thing I remember was the horse, who ended up picking the horse and putting it in another show's memory. What? Oh, we'll be right back.
Weird.
I am John Blackstar.
If you thought that He-Man was lazy, you have not seen Blackstar. Blackstar is Filmation trying to do Thunder, which is amazing when you realize that Thunder is Hanna-Barbera trying to do Conan. But at least Hanna-Barbera thought, since it's a cartoon, we can make things more interesting. Filmation, in the best case scenario, has a writer thinking, no, this is easy enough to do and interesting enough that is going to make it into the episode. Particularly the Hand of the Enchantress there. Character models that are utilized, but it's even more blatant than He-Man, if you can believe that. They literally have another character that uses its ears as wings, besides many cuts and angles to make it easier to animate. The thing is so lazy that there are characters coming out of a ring in the end of the episode, and they weren't stuck in the ring. They were in the middle of a desert. And I'm being serious, if your cut sounds like to He-Man because they are at least trying to tell a story, you can't even say that for this one. How in the hell would you use this sword? The animation is very bad, the effects are very bad, everything is very bad.
1.
And what the hell kind of name is Jace? And it looks like JC. Hey, cousin of Jay-Z, I'm sure. This is one of those cartoons that was created to sell merchandise, and that's not a problem in itself, but the story they came up with does not care about making any sense. We have a wizard who's also a mechanic. You'd think this means that his magic is technomancy, but it's not. He's just Deus Ex Machina, the character. Whatever they need, he can do. He just makes gold. We need a reason why the captain is going to continue with them, so the gold turns to lead, but everything else he just makes. The opening song is awesome, and if you watch just the opening, it looks like it's going to make sense. Their enemies are these monster plants that turn into vehicles, but in the actual cartoon, the vehicle the boss becomes is there, and the boss didn't become it. Besides, why is he rubbing his head like he has a baby in there? The story has a lot of premises that are not established at all, but you can say that about most cartoons at the time. But what really makes this cartoon easy to mix up with something else is that it's just vibes. We have a wizard that kind of feels like the Dungeon Master, but not as well done. We have a girl that feels like Willy Kid, but not as well done. And we have a bunch of other influences that are pretty clear. We have big vehicles that look like the AT Walkers, but not as well done. And our main character is frozen into carbonite, but this is a good thing in this case, besides Superman's computer. It's a mess, and it's not as well done as it probably should have been, so it could be considered actually good. But yeah, I found so many cartoons I didn't remember that I ended up dividing by genre. I will be doing more in the future. What did you think? Leave it on the comments and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!
And if you enjoyed it, please like, share, sub to the channel, and hit that bell.
Character, and the side attachment detaches to become a diving bell. Diving bell?